like to give the floor to Dr. Mohamed Ali Gorsane, his psychiatrist and specialist of addiction at Arjel Hospital in Paris. You have written a book surmounting a problem with gambling and money. I have a couple of questions to you. What is your view as a clinician to opening of competition gambling? What could be improved? What are the main characteristics of pathological gambling or gaming? And on illegal offers, do you have to deal topics such as roulette? Slot machine. I'd like to thank you very much for inviting me to this roundtable session. Thank you very much for this question, which will enable me to introduce my topic. Just a point of clarification. The two of us, in fact, coordinated this work with the help of methods from the faculty of Nanterre who contributed to this work. And we are discussing here not only gamblers, but their environment also, not only the gamblers or gamers. Yes, gambling can be a continuum depending on the severity of the case. Social gambling, recreational, pathological gambling. When discussing pathological gambling, which is in fact addiction, excessive gambling, we often refer to, well, gamblers have difficulties in controlling their own gaming gambling behavior. They pay depending on their means, or as we say, more than their means. Sometimes they even go to lie to their environment, being into debt to finance their gambling authorities. So there's an excessive gambling behavior, which is of a pathological nature, which may certainly impact on their family, life, professional, etc. life. It is important to note that as a gambler in difficulty, or harmed or pathological, we still go on gambling whether we're very much aware of the negative psychosocial impact and the impact on one's own life. To go back to this illegal offering, I must say that I don't see with me many illegal gamblers, and I would like to pay specific attention to them, if any, because gambling is more associated to problems of ethics of game for me. Originally, I had some of my patients refer to me, stop gambling, and going back, in fact, to gambling on illegal sites. One of my patients, in fact, received a mail from one given operator on which he was playing with a bonus, and so he went back to playing, but this time on an illegal site. My question was that of harmonizing the regulation. Why is it, in fact, that some people are restricted in France, yet they go abroad and are tempted by this illicit sites? Well, I noted that some of my patients, at one given moment, they want to go back and play on some sites abroad, and they just cannot, because the sites tell them that your friends will be not accepting you as a gambler or gamer. You see? Surprising, but it can be positive. As a clinician, as to the opening of competition to online gambling, as a clinician, most of my work is, well, being referred some patients, not those who play like a recreation with no harm. So with the opening of a competition, I thought I was going to see many more gamblers in difficulty, which has not been the case. Maybe is it due to the effective measures that have been taken, not only in the healthcare offering. We've had, in fact, hospital practitioners who worked on all these gambling or gaming. We see the Social Security also financing some measures. I might have another explanation. I, for one, see from the patient that I'm following, from the traditional offering, that most of these patients only come or are referred to me after years and years of gambling, are either not referred to me quickly enough. They come sometimes at 10 years. So maybe we see a huge number of people who have not yet consulted a practitioner who in fact know through the internet what gambling is. They were traditional gamblers, and then via the internet they gamble. But within a couple of years, they will in fact be referred to me. So there is a psychological element of denial in the first years of gambling. I would also like to refer to a number of international articles identifying online gambling, who is not only a problem. There are many of these articles or studies or reviews, yet the methodologies cannot be compared. They're all very different. We cannot compare, so we cannot bring any conclusion to these reviews. For instance, we see very few articles looking at one same population, those who are exposed and not exposed to the internet site, which would enable us to confirm or not the number of and source of risk factors that are internet related when it comes to gambling. As to the offering as such, we might be tempted to say that it is this offering and disseminating the offering which is in fact responsible for the problems. But this is not the case, because it does not impact on a large number of gamblers. It only comes with when an interaction of several risks, personal, social, environmental, all come to play together. Let me give you one example, because this is our daily life. Vulnerability factors, such as a trauma, a life event, defective adaptation strategy, evolution to the current life, the influence of family, pair, PRAIRS, the religious factor, the fact that you belong to a minority, cultural, socio-economic factors, economic factors to improve this situation, plus factors such as accessibility to the influence of the media. Scientists have focused to the internet media, and there are specific risk factors attached to the internet project, which would make it a high risk factor. For instance, persons are in fact, there is anonymity. The risk factor coming from anonymity, from financial exposure. People can play on their smartphone, they can game on their factors at home, even at the workplace, in the bathroom, whatever. Why not? So you see, access is infinite. The fact of gambling with virtual money is also different from playing with physical money. And you have different relation to money when it's virtual. There are other factors such as digital media, interactive, high frequency of events, colors, sound. All this has a role to play and makes you more of an addicted person. And these are levels on which we can very well act sometimes. Scientists have looked into a specific population, adolescents, particularly vulnerable, and they offer a higher and more significant risk factor, the two main risk factors being a lack of qualification in terms of age and difficulties in controlling the use or controlling their credit card, the use of credit card. A computer doesn't know whether the person, in fact, is a teenager of age or not. Playing late at night with their father or mother credit cards. So, prohibition is also a temptation. We've always seen that prohibition was considered as a prevention, a type of prevention. In fact, curtailing the negative effects of gambling. Access to individual freedom would also favor clandestine gambling, and there are several studies to that effect. But in another environment, the impact might have been different. So, gambling and the problems related to gambling might be more the problem of healthcare and prevention, and how to, in fact, do more health management. So I would like to focus maintenant, in my limited period of time, to this health management, hoping that it can contribute to developing this aspect of better fighting illegal gambling and addiction. Prevention, effective prevention can be, in fact, the result of more education, more training. So prevention programs should be established as interesting. Will be organized as follows. For excessive gambling, you might have the universal type of preventive actions, selective actions, and preferential action. Let me explain with some examples. Preventive actions, universal preventive action, they are more oriented to the public at large or to a group of population who has not been identified based on high-risk individual. This can be, for instance, a week of awareness campaigns on the radio for the public at large, telling them that gambling can be a problem, or no, in fact, slot machines away from the casinos. And to the preventive selective actions, they are aiming at individuals with a high risk factor already, more vulnerable to, in fact, developing a pathology. Example could be that of campaigns for employees in the casinos, or leaflets made available, or online gambling that are, in fact, can be disseminated on, in arcades, gambling arcades. And preventive could be those actions oriented to high-risk individuals presenting some symptoms of the pathology, but who do not have all the criteria of that pathology. Not for the time being, referring to a follow-up, in fact, from some social services, similar to drug addiction, alcohol addiction, high-risk population, or to the distribution in casinos of self-diagnosis questionnaires drafted by specialists. Well, these, in fact, are not actions for the online gambling, but I believe we can also apply them to traditional gambling from a medical standpoint. And the regulator has applied a number of measures just to draw your attention to the variety of different pathologies. I would also like to mention the work of a group of experts who presented in 2014 guidance for the recommendation of curtailing excessive gambling.
Now, if you were to look at what public health is doing in this field, particularly for online gambling, so some measures have shown some degree of efficacy. The first one is restriction of access for those who are not of legal age, and then attribution of licenses and so on. So this is something that's comprehensive, right? So there are certain institutions that can be required to be more responsible in their attitude towards online gambling. Now, in conclusion, if I were to come up with proposals, I would say that one must improve this law of 2010, and I have two priority proposals to submit to you. The first one being to give more privilege to those who are pathological players. I'd like to say that just 11% of these people actually ask for help from specialized services. There's several reasons for this. For instance, there's barriers, to have easy access to these places. So this could be done via interventions which would make it easier for them to have access to care and not wait for these players to actually fall into a terrible condition before they get there. And then also help in furthering research. I was saying it's such a pity that there's absolutely no survey over a large population sample in order to understand those who are exposed to gambling and understand and characterize online gamers, or at least to have partnerships between all the various partnerships with the medical sector, the social sector, in Arjel, and also the gaming industry as such. So there you are. I'm done, and I'd like to thank you all very much for your attention. Well, thank you, Doctor. Thank you.